Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump.
I will vote for Donald Trump.
Several people were running upwards Wilton's place. I informed them that ICE agents were around the area. They were aware of that, and then that's when an SUV pulled up, came out. Two agents tackled down a individual with no questions. They placed his face into the dirt, physically apprehended him.
And we reached out to officials for more details on today's raid. They said while they can't comment on every single operation, these raids continue on a daily basis, and that today's raid was routine federal immigration law enforcement operation. You're out here. We've been seeing the gentleman who's been very emotional. His wife was detained. He has no idea where she was taken. But you said some of the people detained today were also your neighbors.
That's right. My neighbors unfortunately got taken. They are not bad people. They are not criminals. They are hard workers. They came here for a better life because that's what the United States is about, right? You have freedom. You come here for a better life because unfortunately you run from countries, your own home. That's not the best, right? You come here looking for a better life. You come here for sanctuary. You come here that you're going to make it out here. But unfortunately, with these people coming and taking our own people, the people that constructed California, the people that work for California, the people who do a lot for us, right? They're taking them. What are you going to do when we're not here? What are you going to do when you have nobody left to work with?
And the woman you mentioned who was taken, she's pregnant?
She's actually pregnant. That's the saddest part. She's pregnant. She must have been scared. You don't know if this is going to cause you stress to her baby. You don't know if she might lose the baby from the shock.
Quick question, and I don't mean to come across as insensitive, but this is part of the Trump administration's mandate. President making it clear that anyone who's here, who's not here legally, that this is going to be a part of the process, as inhumane as many may categorize it. There is another argument to that.
I feel like it's wrong. Like I said, they're saying that they're going to take everybody, but why everybody when you have actual criminals that were born here and who have done way worse stuff, and yet they don't get the same punishment we're getting? Why is that? I want an answer to that, seriously. Why is it that criminals can get away with so much who are born here, criminals, and yet our people are innocent? They're working hard. They're doing stuff to make it out here, right?
Thank you.
Members of the National Guard, seen here, decided to accompany their mother to her Chicago immigration appointment.
We fear that she might get taken into custody. There's been reports of that. They get a text or an appointment. They have to come in and they end up getting detained.
Well, 3 hours after arriving for her appointment, the mother left without incident, accompanied by her two sons in uniform.
Just in, breaking news, the mayor of Chicago has stated that he will arrest any ICE agents that try to arrest undocumented immigrants in the city of Chicago. That's how we stand up for our people. We continue to fight, we continue to push, and whoever wants to sit on the right side of history will be with our people, no matter what race it is. When I say my people, it means all people now. Because as you can see in No King's March, there's a lot more of us than we actually think. So remember, you guys, we'll rise up over all this hate. Stay pushing.
In other news, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has announced recently that he is going to start issuing reparations to Black folks in the city of Chicago, as he calls it. Okay. That's real rich there, BJ. That's rich. Because, see, we have watched you over the last 4 years hand out $2.5 billion in expenses across the board to illegal aliens. You have done nothing for Black folks. You have done absolutely, you forgot, you would go to little events with Black folks and pretend that, well, I'm a Black mayor and I'm going home to my Black wife and my Black kids and my blackity black on black up down black blackity black. Shut your dumb ass up, you porch Negro. tap dancing on that porch, on that plantation for massa, aren't ya? For these white liberal communists who don't give a shit about your dark ass. Let me tell you what this looks like. This individual has the nerve to try to come up with some reparations for black folks. Do you know how much that he is going to come up with in this Chicago budget that is already completely bankrupt? The city of Chicago is bankrupt, just like here in Denver, because of sanctuary city policies and these absolutely brainless mayors. Mike Johnston right here in Denver, he's laying folk off, furloughing people, cutting the budget everywhere he can with American citizens because he has taken care of illegals for the last 4 years. See what this has caused? So now back to Brandon Johnson. He's gonna get this, $4 million in reparations to black folks in the city of Chicago. $4 million? $4 million. You have spent over $2.5 billion on illegals, but you gonna offer black folks $4 million paltry dollars? Negro, do you know how much that amounts to? There are 800,000 black folks in Chicagoland. You gonna divide $4 million among 800,000 people? That ain't number $5. God, dog. Oh, Brandon Johnson, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm telling y'all, he has the lowest rating of any mayor in the country. I didn't think it could get lower than the one here in Denver. This dumbass. But Brandon Johnson somehow beat him out. So if you are an FBA and you vote for somebody in blackface like Brandon Johnson, you are stupid AF and you deserve the you get. $5. That's what you're worth. FBAs, $5. Illegals, $2.5 billion. Do the math. Do the math.
Now 12 years old, and today she wanted her voice heard in court.
It did have a huge impact on my life. I would never think this would happen to me.
Today, Alexis Davila tearfully apologized in court, but left the Layton Criminal Courthouse without comment. Davila pleaded guilty to an unprovoked attack on Trinity 2 years ago with a glass bottle in Chicago's Lawndale neighborhood. We first met Trinity in September 2023 when she was an 11-year-old in pain. Her nose was broken and her eye would be permanently damaged. She's had surgeries and therapy, but the physical and psychological pain remain. Wanda Porter addressed the court, calling this violence motivated by hate, as she and her children were called a racist slur before the attack. Porter is Trinity's mom. Davila was never charged with a hate crime, despite calls for charges to be upgraded by activists. Davila's guilty plea to aggravated battery today was part of a plea deal in which other charges were dropped, and Davila gets alcohol addiction treatment, anger management, and gets her GED. Davila previously served 5 months in jail, then 4 months on electronic monitoring. Today she was sentenced to probation.
I feel like the justice system nowadays has failed my child.
We'll make this Juneteenth and Pride all in one.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Juneteenth
and Pride all in one.
No,
it's not. No, it's a representation of intersectional identities. I am interested in the reaction. I am too. So yeah, Chicago is such a wonderful city. We will keep each other together. We will keep our city together. We will be united. And I think that's the theme, right? The theme for the Pride March this year. It was the theme for our Father's Day Artists on the Wall Festival at Loyola Park this year. It was look at disrespectful these people are. And I think that we face division as we bear down hatred, bigotry. People who move by their hatred and bigotry take place assassination. Assassinating political leaders.
But that may happen.
Standing up for our rights.
people who can't figure out how to act within the...
We just got Juneteenth in 21 and y'all gonna make it? Juneteenth and Pride together? Exactly. Pride Month is okay, but to put Juneteenth with Pride Month, that's disrespectful to every black person. It sure is.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's disrespectful. I will leave, but y'all cannot do that. That's not right.
That's right.
Juneteenth is Juneteenth. Y'all cannot do that. That's disrespectful to every slave. That's disrespectful to every person. Y'all,
You can sit down or you're going to have to leave.
Disrespectful.
Have a seat, Mike, please.
So, to clarify, this is a resolution for Pride Month.
Tell them to quit disrespecting us. We got to listen to that. They going to listen to us. I can leave. I don't care. I don't care because I'm going to be black again tomorrow. Really? Look at this. About that. I'm going to be black again tomorrow. I'm going to be black again tomorrow. And Juneteenth ain't going to be with black people tomorrow. That's right. It's going to be the same thing tomorrow. Juneteenth is Juneteenth, and gay pride is that junk. It's going to be the same thing tomorrow. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I find it very interesting that if, let's say, Black Americans decided that they wanted to, as people who took an oath for the United States to protect, to uphold the laws, the rules, and the regulations, no matter how they apply, to do so, I would expect for American people, especially white Americans, to go out on a limb and to decide to state that Black Americans who do this are treasonous. They need to be put in prison. They should be jailed. They should be stripped of United States citizenship, and so on and so on and so on. Because this woman, who is an illegal immigrant, knew originally when she came here she was an illegal immigrant. She more than likely had, looking at her sons, who look like they should be in their 20s, she had more 20, 15, 20 plus years worth of working here, of being here, of staying here in order to get her paperwork and everything straight, opted not to do that. But still, she stayed, she worked illegally, and she decided to have kids on American soil, knowing the fact of what that is going to give and allow them, which is certain protections. And in return, she put her kids in the military, because I guess they might have foresaw in the future that, hey, things may be going a little bit different when it deals in immigration. So let me put my two sons in the military or whatnot or whatever, so that if anything does happen, I have protection. That's very interesting. And I find it very interesting that magically ICE didn't pop up. Find it very interesting that there were no complications or any type of problems with her showing up there, knowing the fact that she is an illegal individual here in the United States. Crazy work. Crazy work. And to parade that a variety of different ways is crazy. But again, this is the difference on how it is that other people are treated versus Black Americans. Because again, if Black Americans did anything similar or close to this to protect their own people, I promise you, you would hear the mouths of everybody in the United States calling Black people, Black Americans, every single name under the sun. Then you have the other videos that are there where I showcase the fact that ICE was chasing down somebody and they got tackled to the ground, and you heard the young woman on the screen like, oh, one of the women, they're pregnant, yada, yada, yada. I wonder if this is going to cause any stress to the baby. Why didn't you think about that before coming into the United States? Why didn't you think about that before getting pregnant, knowing the fact that you don't have the necessary paperwork, knowing the fact that you're not a citizen, knowing the fact that you're legally not supposed to be here? Why is it that people should be sympathetic to the situation of which you created? That makes no type of sense at all. That just means that you don't want to have any acknowledgement or responsibility of what it is that you created specifically for yourself. Nobody else created the situation for you. You created the situation for you. So then later, we had another video where it dealt with Brandon Johnson, Chicago. We actually had 2 videos up there dealing with Chicago. And the fact that, number one, you had at this town hall meeting, you had or city council meeting, whatever, you had a woman up there who was obviously a part of the LGBT, and she stated that Juneteenth and Pride need to go hand in hand. No, they don't. That's disrespectful to the slaves, to the freed Black Americans in the United States. Mind you, this started in Texas, right? Everything dealing with Juneteenth. This is a disrespect to the lineage, to the bloodline of all of those people that you're trying to squander. You're trying to find some type of way to put your agenda directly into June. That's you got a whole month. And I went over this in a previous live stream. Actually, unbeknownst to a lot of people, the LGBT have 3 months of which they are celebrated. I don't think people actually fully realize that. That's why I wanted to go over that in the live stream to further prove that everybody in the United States, documented or undocumented, has months of which they are celebrated, right? Black people got February, and then we have 1 day in June. The LGBT has 3 months, including months for those who are disabled and a part of the LGBT, right? It's interesting. Even with all of those days that they have to celebrate themselves and other individuals, they still want to take more and add themselves directly in there. And every one of those people that were at that meeting had every single right to be angry, frustrated, and mad because they're watching everybody else come into the spaces of Black Americans and take without giving anything at all back in return, right? Mayor. And you had a very awesome Black woman pull up to the scene and state how it is that now, because the kitchen is getting a little bit too hot, right? Because again, he's a Democrat. And I just want to note, I have no dog in either side of these fights. But I have to note that this is a Democrat, and he is one of the ones who have done so much for the immigrants, giving billions of dollars, as she stated. But yet when it deals with the Black residents, when it deals with Black Americans in Chicago, he does little to nothing at all. And this is what the Democratic Party keeps telling Black people to vote for. You never hear those in the Democratic Party that always want to advocate and tell Black people to vote. You never hear them standing up and calling out all of these corrupt corrupt politicians directly out there. You never see it. They was, oh, just keep voting, keep voting, keep putting your vote, because we got to make sure to be in the White House. We got to make sure to have these positions and to do this and to do that. And what ended up happening every single time when Black Americans voted Democrat? You had the LGBT, they got stuff. You had the Jewish community, they got stuff. You had Asian Americans, they got stuff. You had other immigrants, they got stuff. You had the Latins, they got stuff. You even had maybe some Africans and whatnot. They got stuff. What did Black Americans get for their vote in return? Nothing. Nothing. As stated before, and I've covered this over the years, a lot of these immigrants who are here illegally, they were able to get tens of thousands of dollars in benefits in government assistance. But yet when it deals with government assistance, everybody always wants to cap and say that, oh, well, Black people are, the kings and queens of welfare and government assistance. No, we're not. The amount of billions of dollars that these people were sitting up there getting in this time span, crazy work. It is diabolical in nature. They were literally getting vouchers to stay at 4 to 5 star hotels. Black Americans not getting anything like that. We are not getting anything like that. They're literally getting houses and apartment structures built specifically for illegal immigrants. Black Americans are not getting anything like that. You have what's called sanctuary cities. Black Americans are not getting anything like that. They're also getting protections from the Democratic Party. Oh, you can't sit up there and do this to these people. You can't harass them. You can't treat them this type of way. You got to treat them as if they are actual. Black Americans aren't getting anything like that. And we are citizens. And we're still fighting to still be treated as normal citizens, as human beings. But yet, this is the difference between Black Americans and everybody else. This is that difference. And last but not least, there should be an image directly on the screen, and it deals with Trump and also Charlie Kirk, both, Republicans, staunch Republicans, conservatives. And it's amazing on Juneteenth that both of these white men have stated that, in a sense, Juneteenth should not be a federal holiday. Trump stated that we have too many holidays where it's costing taxpayers, America, billions of dollars because businesses are closed and people got the day off. It's amazing how they never say this on President's Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, whatever days are directly out there that are dictated for white people, right? And Memorial Day was black, but that's neither here or there. No matter what days out here that are specifically significant for white people, they never happen to say these things. But when it just so details on one day, on a few hours that black people have, this is when people want to have a problem. Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.